Manishi Ray Chaudhary, Asia Pacific Equity Strategist at BNP Paribas, will be joining in, and Sandeep Wagle, founder and CEO at PowerMyWealth.com. Manishi, first up to you. Now, if the election outcome translates into an NDA victory, which is what everyone is certainly expecting, what levels will you be targeting for the Nifty and the Sensex by the year end?
Right. We actually upgraded the India target. We don't have a formal Nifty target, but we do have a Sensex target, which was 24,000 by the end of calendar 2014. So about 6 or 7 months from now, 24,000, which, as you rightly point out, the market's almost there. I think Sensex is close to 23,800 or so. Now, having said this, if the kind of results that the exit polls seem to have forecast, if that kind of result really comes through, then it would mean the risk premium that investors attach to India, that possibly declining, because expectation of policy reforms and more importantly policy implementation in the industrial space, metals and mining space, and several other areas would increase significantly. So growth expectations would increase. You would possibly see a concurrent impact on the currency, some kind of a downward pressure, and you would also see a decline in risk premium. When one puts all these things together, one could argue that India would deserve a re-rating. Currently it's trading at somewhere close to 14.8 to 15 times 1 year forward P, which is almost at the level of the long-term average. But in times of euphoria about growth improvement or about political outcomes, we have seen markets going to closer to 1 standard deviation higher than the long-term average, which might imply another 10 to 15% upside from here. So those are the numbers that we'll have to check, we'll have to figure out. But we are all waiting for the election outcome and the extent of majority of a strong and stable government that finally the outcome would imply.
Okay, Nishal Maheshwari joins in as well. Nishal, so it would have been interesting today. I'm just curious to know, what is it that you would have advised your clients today ahead of the event tomorrow? If they would have asked you that there is a BJP majority, would you have told them that go out and buy tomorrow morning?
So we have been asking our clients for a time basically where we've seen the exit polls to hold on. For the reason I see there is, if BJP tomorrow does get the number what the exit polls are forecasting, then this is a game changer not only for the market but for the economy also. You will get a stable government with these kind of numbers in a poll after 25 years. Now that's a very big thing basically for India, Indian economy, Indian business. I think continuity of policies, and given that BJP has been pro-business, I think it's going to be very, very positive for the Indian economy. So I think definitely what we are looking at is going out and holding on what you have invested. If not, definitely you should be looking at entering the markets if you get this kind of a majority.
Sandeep, what is your strategy getting into the big event?
Good evening, Aman. The strategy for the day is a little difficult to define because this is a really big event and you can't define in terms of a technical trade. But yes, what we have told our clients not to take any F&O trades, that is a leverage position. Position calls in cash which have been bought at much lower levels, we have asked them to hold on. And we have not taken any meaningful position in the last 3, 4, 5 days. So yes, some small bit here and there we have asked them to downsize the quantity. Because there is nothing in the chart that suggests any weakness. I mean, that is just anticipating that yes, the event is there, it will be done and we will correct. That is just a conjecture. I don't really see that in the chart. Broadly, I will talk of a range of 68.50 to 72.50, and I won't be surprised if the upper side of 72.50 is broken before 68.50 is tested.
I just wanted to talk, Nishchal, with respect to, what exactly you would be doing with some of the PSU banking stocks. It's been a mixed bag in terms of numbers that have been put out. Do you think that asset quality concerns are likely to linger for this basket?
Yes, I don't think so that the asset quality issues are going to go away for the PSBs in a short term. So if you really look at it and look at the way what Modi has really done for Gujarat, so you are not going to see any short-term policy measures which are going to announcements which are going to come through, but it's going to be structural changes basically. The way he has done it in Gujarat, I expect if he comes into if he gets the majority tomorrow and becomes the Prime Minister, I think more structural things are going to get announced. And that will take time for it getting it implemented, getting it right. So I believe the asset quality issues are not going to go away in a hurry. I think there is going to be pain basically for at least next 1 to 2 quarters.
Nishchal, a lot of people who are listening into you right now, they're getting advised to get into the power space because that sector will see some changes and a lot of structural changes as well. There are power companies which have done reasonably better than the others over the last 5-6 years of distress as well. What are you as a house betting on if the situation improves? Which are the power stocks that you believe investors can buy with an investment horizon of a couple of years at least?
I would definitely look at the power equipment space, which is much better as far as their balance sheets are concerned, though the order book may not be very, very strong for them. But if we definitely see improvement happening on the power outlook, then power equipment is the best way to play. Whether it is the generation side or whether it is the transmission and distribution side, I think both ways there are a lot of plays which are available in the country, and they are pretty reasonably priced and very okay balance sheets. Going ahead, if they start getting good orders coming in, I think these stocks will really do well from here.
You would reckon that stocks like Kalpataru Power, KEC International, etc., which are in the transmission space, should do well?
Yes, and I think something like Crompton Greaves, Larsen Toubro, KEC. So those KEC, Kalpataru are transmission and distribution, but L&T and Crompton, Bhale, these are all the generation side guys. Then similarly, stocks like Thermax, Triveni Turbines, these are some of the other guys basically either on the turbine or the generation space. These are the stocks basically will do much better than the utilities.
Sandeep, would you be comfortable placing bets on any of the Gujarat-based stocks such as the Adani Group, for instance, come tomorrow?
Well, if you talk of only tomorrow, probably not because of the volatility, Aman. But if you look at the weekly pattern of Adani Power, I am very, very comfortable if I can take a 10-12% risk, if anybody can do that, and play for a 30-40% upside over the next few weeks or months. I think that would be a favorable trade and that can work in your favor. Yes, if you take a 2% stop loss, 5% reward, that may not work in your favor due to the choppiness and the volatility. But take a little bigger time horizon, and I think Adani Power could be a potential outperformer over the next few weeks or months.
Splendid numbers as well by Adani Power in today's session, good operational performance. Just taking a bit of a detour off the election tomorrow onto earnings as well. Adani Power was one. Manishi, Tata Steel was one as well, and good performance. Did you like what you saw, and what's the call on the stock now?
I'll tell you specifically, the quarterly performance was good, no doubt, particularly the India business. But the concern on Tata Steel is actually more global, and in this particular case I'll point to the rest of Asia, in particular what's happening in China. Everyone knows that large overcapacities were created in China over the past few years, and they still persist. The government is focused on employment generation and maintenance of employment levels. Therefore, they're unwilling to close down the relatively inefficient capacities there. And finally, one must not forget that the Chinese renminbi has been depreciating. Therefore, it becomes, incentivized. The steel makers in China become incentivized to export. And, one of the obvious destinations becomes India. So I would think that going forward, steel prices could continue to remain under pressure. Therefore, in this entire steel and non-ferrous metals pack, we still have an underweight, and I don't think we're going to revise that stance significantly. From a purely trading perspective, it could still move up on the back of potential election outcome, etc. But I think longer-term investors should use that as a profit-booking opportunity.
Yatin, what is it that dealing rooms are speaking about tomorrow's session, and what stocks are they recommending?
Well, Neeraj, clearly tomorrow is a very big day, and everybody's watching out closely for the election results. We'll get the cues tomorrow morning as early as close to 11 a.m. Wherein the trends would be more or less clear. But talking about dealer recommendations, of course, they have been advising the clients to be very light as far as the trading positions are concerned, and they are quite optimistic that there will be a stable government as such. But talking about their recommendations, Bank of India currently is something that they are looking to sell. Of course, today also there were some fresh shorts that were built up, and possibly tomorrow also, the stock will be under pressure, is what dealers are talking about. They say that Bank of India this time has changed a lot of accounting policies. If you were to compare it on a like-to-like basis, possibly they would have posted a very big loss. Of course, there was a tax reversal also this time, which helped the profit. So a big downgrade is what they're expecting on Bank of India, and they're expecting that this will be underperforming the entire lot ahead. Also talking about the results tomorrow, Cadila Healthcare is something that dealers are watching out for. Of course, this is a Gujarat-based company, so it will also get some added benefit on that front. But they will also come out with the quarterly earnings that is expected to be quite robust, given the fact that their export growth has been very, very strong. So this is one stock wherein dealers are recommending a positional buy.
Thanks very much, Yatin, for giving us those top stock bets, and certainly the mood is going to be very exciting in the newsroom come tomorrow. Sandeep, run us through your recommendations based on the chart readings.
I want to buy in Adani Power, stop loss of 50, target of 66. A sell in a United Spirit, stop loss of 26.50, target of 24.80.
Nishchal, I'm going to put you in a bit of a spot here, but nothing that you can't handle. I have two questions for you. The first question is, you gave us 3 or 4 ideas. Now my question is, we are working with a hypothesis that there is a decisive majority tomorrow. That's the clear hypothesis. Now first, start off with a large cap or a mid cap safe idea. Something that you believe safely can give 10, 20, 30% returns over the next 1-2 years. Something in that variety. That you will buy tomorrow morning at these levels, at tomorrow morning's levels, assuming that there is a majority.
Yeah, I think that's easier shot actually. I think you can go out and buy Larsen & Toubro tomorrow morning. I'm very comfortable with saying that 10-20% basically in a year's time. Very safely you can assume there. It'll come through.
Okay.
And that's the one basically you want, right? One stock?
Yeah, so that's the one that I wanted from the large cap space. Now the other question is, give me something that could have a very high delta to this victory tomorrow, and something that you would still buy tomorrow. There would be a risk element attached to it, yes, but something that you would buy tomorrow for a more than a 30, 40, 50% probable return over the next 1 year. It could be a large cap, it could be a mid cap.
So I would go for a construction company, Nagarjuna Construction. The stock is, I think, already tripled from the bottom. So I think the stock made a bottom of around 20 rupees, and I think it's still gone to around 65, 66. But when I look from basically, and here I'm assuming that over a 2.5 year period, things will go back to normal, and we are going to grow at 7.5% kind of a GDP. Given that kind of a scenario, I think this stock can still double from here in the next 1.5-2 year period.
Has been a stellar rally on NCC, and it wasn't anything you couldn't handle. NCC and L&T, those are the 2 stocks that Nishchal flagged off. Now, Manishi, Tech Mahindra's numbers, that made it at the best time, at a time in the pack when the rest of the IT space was really struggling to meet up and match up to their guidance. What's your view on the stock now?
Tech Mahindra is definitely, it lies somewhere between the large cap and mid cap space in the IT services. And we currently like IT unequivocally. we have an overweight on that space, and we think that, this developed market capex recovery theme is actually getting translated into newer orders for IT. It may not be showing up uniformly in the order books of all companies, but that theme is there, and, at some point of time, it would definitely play out on a much more broad-based basis. There are some companies which are actually, exhibiting, they're actually showing such exuberance in their order books. Tech Mahindra is one of them. We do like companies like HCL Tech and Tech Mahindra, which have demonstrated their capabilities of winning new orders. And, if you look at any of the indicators like US PMI or the Philly Fed survey, it would indicate that over the past 15 months, this developed market capex or US capex is, the capex intentions rather, they're trending up. And when one thinks about US capex, it's not obviously the capacity expansion in the companies, because they're operating at relatively low capacity utilization. So that would refer to productivity improvement by investing in tech. And I think all across Asia, the Taiwanese chip makers, the Korean DRAM manufacturers, the Indian IT service providers are likely to be the beneficiaries of that.
Okay, gentlemen, thanks so much for taking time out and joining in.